Hey there. Have you ever felt a heavy cloak of sadness descend? Perhaps after a loss, a change, or just out of the blue? That deep pain that feels like it might consume you completely. Maybe you thought, I should be over this by now. Or you felt guilty for the tears that keep coming. We live in a world that often tells us to bounce back quickly, to stay positive. But what about the sacred space needed for grief? What if processing sadness isn't about fixing it, but about holding it with compassion? That's where we're going today, into the heart of grief, guided by kindness. Get ready for a perspective shift on mental well being and emotional healing that might just offer your heart the permission it's been longing for. This week, we're diving into the topic of compassion and processing sadness and grief. So grab a cozy drink, settle in, and let's explore a healthy mindset together. Today, we're focusing on something incredibly vital for your emotional landscape, bringing compassion to the very real, often messy process of sadness and grief. This isn't just about the big losses, like the passing of a loved one. It's about the sadness of missed opportunities, the grief over changing friendships, or even the collective sorrow we feel about the world. Why is this topic so relevant to your mental health and emotional well-being? Because unprocessed grief and sadness can become heavy weights, contributing to anxiety, depression, and a feeling of being stuck. And learning to navigate these emotions with compassion for yourself and for others is not just a coping mechanism, it's a pathway to healing, resilience, and profound personal growth. Throughout this video, we'll explore what it truly means to approach sadness and grief with a compassionate heart, look at how this plays out in healthy versus imbalanced ways, touch on a fascinating astrological connection, and finally give you a practical exercise to start integrating this powerful approach into your life. Ready to go? Welcome to Mental Health and Astrology, where different worlds connect. My name is Sander de Bot, therapist and astrologer for over 2 decades, and it's wonderful to see you here. Each week we explore how self-awareness can help you navigate life challenges, build stronger connections, and nurture your mental well-being. In the Personal Transformation series, we delve into all aspects of mental health, including a dedicated chapter that investigates the connection with astrology. You don't need any prior knowledge of astrology. I will explain it in simple terms and combine it with relatable, real-life examples about mental health that you might recognize in your own life. In the Visual Storytelling series, we will dive a bit deeper into the astrology, where we visually explain how planets and signs work out when it comes to mental health. Exercises are available in both theories. So, what exactly does it mean to bring compassion to processing sadness and grief for your own mental health? Imagine grief not as a problem that needs to be solved, but as a natural, albeit painful, human experience. It's the price of love, of connection, of change. When we talk about compassion here, we mean treating ourselves with the same kindness, patience, and understanding we would offer a dear friend who is hurting. Think about a time you were sad, maybe deeply sad. What was your inner dialogue like? Was it gentle, like a warm hug? Or was it critical, telling you to snap out of it? For many of us, it's the last one. We judge our tears, our lack of productivity, and the way grief disrupts our perfectly planned lives. This self-judgment is the opposite of compassion, and it only adds another layer of pain onto the original wound. So, processing sadness and grief requires compassion. It requires acknowledging the pain without trying to fix it or to judge it. It's giving yourself permission to feel, to rest, to be unpredictable for a while, to seek comfort in simple things. This can mean to allow yourself to cry when the waves hit, talking about the loss with understanding friends, or even crafting art inspired or based on memories. Not by forcing it, but by letting it flow. This isn't about self pitying, it's about acknowledging the reality of the loss and the associated feelings. When you approach your sadness and grief with compassion, you create a safe inner space for healing. You can stop fighting the current and allow yourself to be gently carried through it. This is fundamental to mental well being and navigating the inevitable losses and changes that come with life. Without compassion, grief can fester, leading to prolonged suffering and impacting every area of your mental health. Now, let's look at how compassion, while processing sadness and grief, manifests in both healthy, balanced ways and imbalanced ways. Understanding this can be another powerful aha moment, helping you to recognize where you might be holding yourself back. Here are 5 examples of how compassion manifests in a healthy way while navigating sadness and grief. Allowing yourself to feel without judgment. Instead of thinking, I shouldn't be crying, you might think, this hurts and it's okay to feel this pain. Tears are a release. The effect of this, you create space for the emotion to move through you, preventing it from getting stuck and contributing positively in your mental well being. Giving yourself permission to rest. Recognizing that grief is exhausting. You might say, I need to rest today, even if my to do list is long. The effect? You honor your body and mind's need for recovery, supporting your overall mental well being. Seeking and accepting support, reaching out to a friend or a therapist and allowing them to simply listen without trying to fix you. The effect here? You tap into human connection, which is vital for processing difficult emotions and fosters a sense of not being alone in your pain, boosting your mental well being. Be patient with the process. Understand that grief isn't linear and there will be good days and bad days. You might tell yourself, it's okay that I felt okay yesterday, but I'm struggling today. The effect? You remove the pressure to perform grief in a certain way, allowing for a more natural healing rhythm, improving your mental health. Finding moments of gentle comfort, allowing yourself to enjoy a cup of tea, listening to soothing music, or spend time in nature without feeling guilty. The effect? You nurture yourself amidst the pain, reminding yourself that comfort and glimmers of light are still possible, supporting your mental well being and resilience. On the flip side, imbalanced expressions often look like this: suppressing your emotions, which may sound like just get over it, or judging your own or others' grief. Why are they still so sad? Isolating yourself from others who care. Harsh self criticism. Something like, I'm handling this terribly. Getting stuck in negativity, unable to see any possibility of future well being. The consequences of these imbalanced approaches are significant: prolonged sadness, anxiety, physical health issues, damaged relationships, and a stalled process of personal growth. But the benefits of cultivating balance and compassion are immense. A greater capacity for emotional resilience, deeper connection with yourself and others, a gentler internal landscape, and the ability to move through difficult times with grace. I'd love to hear how you notice balanced or imbalanced expressions of grief or sadness in your own life. Share your story in the comments below. Your experience can be incredibly helpful for others on a similar path. Now, let's weave in a fascinating astrological theme that connects deeply to compassion, sadness, and grief. Today, we're looking at the planet Neptune. Don't worry if astrology is new to you, I'll keep it simple. Neptune is often called the planet of dreams, intuition, spirituality, and compassion, but it also relates to disillusion, illusion, confusion, and the blurring of boundaries. In the context of processing sadness and grief, Neptune's energy is incredibly relevant. Grief is a process of dissolution. The form of the relationship or situation changes, something dissolving entirely. Neptune governs that feeling of things dissolving, of reality shifting, and the deep, sometimes overwhelming wave of emotions and empathy that comes with it. It connects us to the universal human experience of loss and can awaken profound compassion, both for ourselves and for others who are suffering. Now, how might this show up? Let's look at Neptune in two different signs to see how this compassionate yet sometimes confusing energy can manifest when we're dealing with sadness or grief. First, consider Neptune in Aquarius. Aquarius is an air sign associated with intellect, community, innovation, and sometimes detachment. When Neptune is in Aquarius, its energy of dissolution and compassion blends with Aquarius' focus on the collective, ideas, and objectivity. Key qualities of Neptune in Aquarius related to grief: processing sadness through understanding the universal nature of loss, finding connection and compassion within groups or communities, and a tendency towards detachment or confusion around personal emotional boundaries during grief. An aha moment here might be recognizing that you try to process grief through logic or by focusing on the broader human condition, and that allowing yourself to feel your personal individual pain is just as valid as seeing the bigger picture. For example, someone with Neptune in Aquarius might approach grief from a detached, intellectual perspective initially, trying to understand why this happened on a philosophical or societal level. They might find comfort and express compassion by supporting others in a group setting, perhaps organizing memorials or focusing on a cause related to the loss. Their personal sadness might feel confusing or hard to access directly. An imbalanced expression could be using intellectualization or focusing solely on the collective or the group to avoid their own deep personal feelings, leading to emotional numbness or a feeling of being disconnected from their own pain. Now let's look at Neptune in Capricorn. Capricorn is an earth sign associated with structure, responsibility, goals, and the material world. When Neptune is in Capricorn, its energy of dissolution and spirituality interacts with Capricorn's grounded, structured nature. The qualities of Neptune in Capricorn related to grief: a struggle to reconcile deep emotional or spiritual pain with the need to maintain structure and control, finding spiritual meaning in tangible loss, potentially suppressing emotional vulnerability, and a focus on finding practical ways to honor the memory or rebuild after loss. An aha moment here might be realizing that your usual coping mechanisms of structure and control are being dissolved by the grief, and that allowing yourself to feel vulnerable is actually a strength, not a weakness. Example, someone with Neptune in Capricorn might feel pressured to keep it up or keep it together and maintain responsibility despite deep sadness. They might struggle to speak out their emotional pain, preferring to focus on practical tasks like sorting out affairs. Their compassion might show up as quiet, reliable support for others, perhaps expressed through practical help rather than emotional words. An imbalanced expression could be completely intellectualizing or denying their grief, leading to burnout or physical symptoms, or becoming disillusioned with their life path after a significant material or structural loss. These are just general descriptions, of course, and your individual natal chart is unique and complex with all your planets and signs interacting. If you're curious to dive deeper into how Neptune or other parts of your chart relate to your emotional processing and self awareness, check out the visual storytelling series. Remember, astrology can offer insights into your natural tendencies, but your own conscious choices are what shape your path and your mental well being. You have the power to choose compassion. So, how does bringing compassion to sadness and grief fit into the bigger picture of mental health, personal growth, and mental well being? It's really foundational. When we resist feelings, we create blockages. And when we judge our pain, we amplify suffering. But when we lean in with compassion, we allow the natural process of healing to unfold. One of the biggest takeaways here is that grief is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of having loved deeply. And navigating it with compassion builds incredible resilience. It teaches you about your own capacity for kindness, your vulnerability, and your strength. It deepens your self awareness by forcing you to confront your innermost feelings. Practical advice: be patient with yourself. Talk to someone you trust, a friend, a family member, or a professional. Journal about your feelings without editing yourself. And allow yourself small moments of joy or comfort. And please, if you feel overwhelmed or stuck, don't be shy to contact professional help like a doctor or therapist in your own local region. They are there to support you. Bringing compassion means recognizing that it's okay if the structure dissolves a bit, and sometimes completely. Compassion means allowing the wave to come, knowing it won't last forever. These relatable examples show us that our individual tendencies might make compassion easier or harder, but it's always necessary. Now, let's try a simple exercise, which I call the gentle anchor, to connect with this idea of compassionate processing. You can do this anytime you feel sadness or grief arise. Find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed. Close your eyes gently or soften your gaze. Take three slow, deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just notice your breath. Now, bring to mind the feeling of sadness or grief you are experiencing. Don't try to push it away or to change it. Just acknowledge its presence. Where do you feel it in your body? Is it a tightness in your chest, a hollowness in your stomach, a pressure behind your eyes? Just notice it without judgment. Now imagine you are placing a gentle, warm hand on that part of your body where you feel the sensation most strongly. It's not trying to fix the feeling, just acknowledging it with warmth and acceptance. Silently repeat a phrase of self compassion, something like, "This is painful and it's okay to feel this way. May I be kind to myself in this moment." Or, "This is a moment of suffering, and suffering is a part of life." Just sit with this feeling for a few breaths, anchored by your gentle hand and your compassionate phrase. You are not the sadness itself. You are the one experiencing the sadness, and you are offering yourself kindness. This exercise helps you to meet the feeling where it is, without resistance. It's a small but powerful way to integrate self awareness and compassion into your emotional processing. It's like offering a gentle anchor in the sometimes stormy seas of grief. For myself, I find this exercise incredibly helpful when I feel overwhelmed. It doesn't make the sadness disappear instantly, but it changes my relationship to it. It shifts from fighting it to gently holding it. I encourage you to try it the next time sadness and grief visits. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the power of our mind with this week's topic: compassion while processing sadness and grief, and its way of guiding us through emotional waters. We've seen how essential compassion is for navigating pain, how it manifests in balanced ways, and we touched on how Neptune's energy connects to this deep, sometimes confusing, but ultimately very human experience. My passion lies in helping you feel more connected, understood and empowered on a daily basis, whether we're delving into mental health or tapping into planetary energies. If today's message resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment. Just discovered this channel? Welcome aboard. Subscribe and ring that ship's bell to set course for your own mental health. Together, we can navigate life challenges with clarity and compassion. Next week, we will discuss releasing and transforming old trauma with the power of Pluto. So be sure to tune in again. And please remember, astrology is a wonderful guide, but it's your own choice that shapes your path. Take care of your heart and mind, stay healthy, see you soon. And in the meantime, check this video about overcoming fear of change, where we explored how we can have sudden insights or change of directions to help us approach difficult feelings like grief with more compassion. See you there in a second.